So, hello everyone. In this video, we'll learn about what is WKT and WKB and how do we parse it. Okay, so let's move on. So, these are the contents of our video. First, we'll learn about what WKT and WKB really is. Then we'll parse it, and finally we'll see how to code it. Okay, let's move. Okay, so before we get ourselves introduced with it, uh, let's see this. This is a map extract. You can see there's a medical store here. It is represented as a point on the map. Okay? But you cannot have the same representation for this line. Okay, this is a metro line. You need a series of points. So that is represented as a line on the map. Okay. Similarly, for something like a shopping mall, you can't have a point or a series of lines, right? It has to be a, a points, but which are connected in a loop. So that makes a polygon. So this is how features are represented on map, which is vector data. Okay, by the way. Next, so what is WKT and WKB? So WKT and WKB are basically file types. GIS vector data file types. They translate as well-known text and well-known binary. Well-known text because it is human readable, and well-known binary because it's not human readable. It's hard to decode it for humans. Okay, but it is easier for uh, computation. Okay, so that is why it's stored in that format. Okay, yes, they represent points, lines, and polygon. Okay, so let's see how a WKT and WKB feature looks like. Okay, we'll take the same feature here. There is this point 73.8567 and 18.04 with its respective longitudes and latitudes. Okay, so now how is this point represented in WKT? So you see here, there is this a literal. Okay, it states what the feature is. Okay, in this case, it's a point. Then a parenthesis with latitudes and longitudes as numbers separated by a white space. Okay, this is exactly how a point is represented or stored in WKT format. Similarly, for line string and polygon, you have line string and polygon as literals respectively. Again, separated by commas. Okay, these are coordinates separated by coordinates of points which are separated by commas, and then points again with coordinates separated by white space. The difference between line string and polygon is you can see two parentheses here. Okay, and one more thing to notice here. See the final point here is the same as the first point. Okay, that is why it makes a loop. Okay, then that was WKT. WKB here is it's human readable. Okay, but we are taking the same point here, and let's see how the point, like how do we break it down. So it's an hexadecimal. Okay, so this one bit is one. So 2 bits is 1 byte. Okay, so now this first 2 bits represent the byte order. So it basically says how do you read this string. So 01 means you read it from left to right, and 00 means you have to read it from right to left. So we are reading it from left to right. The next 4 bytes tells us its geometry type. 01 means point, 02 is a line string, and 03 is polygon. Okay. The next 8 bytes is the first coordinate, okay, the longitude here, and the next 8 bytes is the latitude. So this total 16 bytes is the first point. In this case, the only point. Okay, so this is how the line string and polygon are also represented. Okay, what will change is this geometry type, and there will be more points. That's it. But since it will be very complex to represent that here, I've just shown you point in WKB. Okay. Now parsing and WKT and WKB. What do you expect out of it? Now there is this WKT format and WKB format. Now they will be parsed by the respective parsers into longitude and latitude format. So if we take these points in WKT and WKB files, and parse them, we must get this point 73.8567 and 18.5204. We should get these longitudes and latitudes. Exactly. So let's see the code. So I've built a C sharp console application here. So this is how you parse a WKT point. Now, how do you do it? First, you define the string. Now, that string here is the point. Now, you can take it from any source. You can extract it from a file. I've just hard coded this point. So the next step is you define and initialize the reader here. Yeah. So for example, this is WKT reader. It takes in the point and converts it into this format, geometry. Now why geometry? Because this class contains the point, line string and polygon. If you go into this, you see this point, line string and polygon. This is what we need. So next, all you have to do is fetch the x and y coordinates. Okay, we are going to print x and y coordinates. So before doing that, we typecast it into the point. Okay, we typecast it on net topology suite.geometry.point. Okay, first make sure that you have installed this package net topology suite. Okay, that's it. That's how you print WKT. Similar WKB, you take WKB maybe from a file. We have taken this coordinate. We've taken it hardcoded. Okay. Next, again, you define the same step. You define reader and initialize it with the string. Sorry, up here. And again, then you print it. You print the geometry. You typecast it into point, and you print the x and y coordinates. Okay, right. Okay, we're going to run it now. So this is it. WKT. What is it? The geometry type is point, and x coordinate is 73.8567 and 18.527 is the y coordinate. That's what we specified. Okay, that's it. So if you want to read line, if you want to parse line string or a polygon, all you need to do is see there's this line string class in here. See this. You can parse it into line string, but since this is a point, we're going to do that. It also contains the polygon class, right? So if you have the okay, so if you have a line string or a polygon, you can pass it. It's simple. You can just take this from Google, take it from somewhere, uh, and just convert and just pass it from this format. Okay, that's all. Thank you.